So yeah, I think the first game last week was Arsenal versus Nottingham. We smashed them 3-0. It was a beautiful performance. It was a dominant performance. And I think for the first time in a long, long time, I can say as an Arsenal fan with confidence that we have a competent second team. If, for example, right now, Saka is injured, for like, I think he missed like what, 2, 3 games. And we can't even feel it because Madueke has stepped up. And I don't think, of course, I don't think he's at the same level as Bukayo Saka, of course, but at least we have someone to replace him. In the past, it used to be Nwaneri. I know he's a talented, good kid, but I don't think he's at the same level of Saka. He cannot step up at the same level, right? So a player like Noni is a good addition, right? And on the other flank, we have Eze who has stepped up, and it's been really refreshing. And that assist of his was really great. But yeah, I digress. I think we're gonna talk more about Arsenal. So Bournemouth had 2-1 against Brighton, Crystal Palace 0-0 against Sunderland, Everton 0-0. I had this stadium, by the way, Goodison Park. I think it's one of the all-time toughest places. It's a nasty place. It sucks to be there. Fulham against Leeds United 1-0, Newcastle 1-0, Spurs won 3-0. Okay, I didn't want the match, but that's impressive. Yeah, Chelsea, Chelsea thought they had it, with a late goal, but Brentford got a late equalizer. So sucks to be a Chelsea fan. We're gonna talk about Chelsea too later, and Liverpool. I have a lot to say here, and here too, the Manchester derby. But let's get into it.
Pulls it back. Timber was
Look
there,
at
but Murillo
Madueke, bro.
again
He makes you,
with a fantastic challenge.
of course we miss, of course we miss Saka, but when you look at Madueke play, you at least feel like, Saka, take your time getting healed, and make sure when you come back, you are at your best because you're gonna have some really good competition, you know. I remember people making fun of this guy when he was signing for our team, for Arsenal, and they were saying, yeah, we're just buying all the washed Chelsea players, but I think Chelsea is kind of like United. Um, they take talented players. Before going to Chelsea, this guy was really, really good at his team. So hopefully we can turn him around like Havertz. The way Havertz was basically the guy was in a really, really bad position. Everyone was saying he's insufferable. There's nothing that gonna change about him. It's useless. It's a useless signing. Blah blah blah. But I disagree. I think this guy has a lot to offer, and we're in for a good time. In regards to Noni Madueke. But yeah, I'll leave you guys to see it. Time will tell.
Oh,
That was
what
a
a
great
goal!
goal. It
Should be
actually
making him
reminds
an
me.
absolute sizzler.
It actually reminds
That
me.
is.
It actually reminds me of Thomas Partey. A bit concerned about his height. He gives me some uh Torreira, the guy we used to have. He was good. He was good, but sometimes when you're very tiny, it becomes a liability, if anything. And that's the problem, I think. If I could call out anything about Zubimendi, I would say it's his height. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see how things go. Maybe he is, that's not gonna be a problem. Maybe there's a way he's gonna get around it. I don't know. We'll see. But I have to say I'm very impressed. His performance in this game, by the way, was 10 out of 10. Let's watch some analysis here. These guys had to say.
Either still completely dominate the midfield. They've got.
You know what? Let me talk about this for a bit. As I said, of course, I feel good about the squad depth that we have, but I'm starting to get worried about the amount of injuries that we are having. Saliba was just injured during the other day against Liverpool. Saka was injured. Odegaard now is injured. And who else? Probably some other players too. So I would be lying if I told you I'm not starting to get worried. Our depth is great, of course, and that gives me a bit of confidence that we don't have to field players like Kivior, no pun intended, and other players who are, in my opinion, not at the level that we need as a club right now. So yeah, I'm definitely worried. I hope, and we can talk about this later, but from what I heard, Saliba could be playing in our game tomorrow against Bilbao. So that's a bit refreshing. Hopefully, we don't hear other news about other injuries. Hinkapi, by the way, I heard he's getting a debut too. That's refreshing too.
Good enough to.
Yeah, sorry. I think Liverpool have a better, more rounded squad, but we are up there. We are very competitive. We have a very, very good squad. So maybe on par with Liverpool. Let's just say that. They don't. Mm, they're not better either. Especially in terms of defense. For example, let's say Van Dijk gets injured. Who's gonna replace him? Joe Gomez? I mean, with all due respect, that's not the same level of quality, right? So, can you say that? Can you say the same about us? I don't think so. There's Hinkapi, there's Ben White, you know, Timber is on the right, right wing, or right fullback, sorry. He's a world-class player, my friend was telling me the other day, and he's not an Arsenal fan. He was telling me that Timber is easily one of the best right backs in the world currently. And I don't think he's exaggerating.